Hello, beautiful ladies. Karen McCoy here, and welcome to today's video on how to train as we age. I thought I would share with you how I am now training in my 60s. It's different, most different than when I was in my 20s and 30s, and different when I was in my 40s and 50s. But we're also going to look at food, we're going to look at supplements, we're going to look at mindset as well. So as I aged, I felt the difference in my body around, I would say, I was still competing in my early 50s. Mid 50s, late 50s was when things started to change. Menopause, all that kind of stuff. And I had to come to a new plan, a new strategy on how to eat and train and live as a 50 plus woman. And then I moved into my 60s, 60 plus woman. So here's where I want to share with you, age is not just a number. Age matters. Aging is a natural process, but unfortunately a lot of people look at aging as something negative, something that is to be pushed back on, fought against, something that we should not embrace because we need to stop it or to delay it at all costs. I was probably one of those people, but what I can say is it keeps going whether you like it or not. And so I had to learn how to do things differently because I wanted to continue to do my training, to stay lean, and to age well with health in mind at every step. So here's my list of things that I do, which I think they would be vitally important for you to do as you age. And I would say this is really for women over 40, because some women, things change in their 40s. This is where hormonal stuff starts to change, the body does change, our lifestyle changes, everything seems to change, and we need to catch up with that change and meet it where it's at and move forward with a different plan and a different mindset around it. So where I used to train 5 to 6 days a week in the gym, of course, we're talking weight training. That's what I specialize in, and that's what I urge my women to do. I now train 3 to 4 days. Recovery is absolutely key. It is the most important part. We have to look at certain volume, which is splayed out in the sets and reps and exercises that we do. So there is an art to it. There's a skill set to it, and we can't just go in and just kind of throw around a bunch of weights. So this is where I use bodybuilding / body isolation / figure training, however you want to call it. It's really old school bodybuilding that has been revamped to allow us to bring in some of the new stuff that we know. And a lot of it's functional, and a lot of it is recognizing how we can build metabolic and physical strength. So I train 3 to 4 days a week, and I'm in the gym for at least only training for at least 40 to 60 minutes. Leg day is a bigger day for me. I also need a lot more rest between lifts, between sets for sure. And I've really learned to slow down. It used to be, try to get it done because I'm so busy. And now I recognize that I have to have patience and rest more in between sets in order to maintain the muscle that I have. So at this point, I'm not here to build more muscle because I pretty well have topped out at my age with over 35 years of training, but I am here to sustain it. And this is where I say I'm not in maintenance mode, because I still have to work hard at it in order to maintain the muscle now. Because now, over 50, Father Time is saying, oh, you're not having babies anymore, your hormones have shifted, so we're pulling all that lean, shapely, metabolically active muscle off of your body. And this is the challenge that women have, is they think that it's menopause, or they think that it's midlife, or they think that it's aging. But what it is if you haven't trained for years to keep it on, your body's going to rip it off fast. This is why we need to weight train now. Start now if you haven't started, because Father Time is going to rip that muscle off. It's also our shape and our tone, right? So we do want to look good as well as function well and feel good. So the muscle piece is super, super important. I have to stretch more. Oh, I never like to stretch. for years. It was like a kind of a time waster. I would just kind of go into the moves and hurry through. But now I combine yoga stretches. I have to do some hip stretches, other shoulder stretches. I have some restrictions in both areas, and that just comes with aging too. So if you think you're going to get out of this without anything happening or changing, life is going to happen to you. I would rather have things I need to work around from training in the gym than being sedentary, and ask any chiropractor, massage therapist, acupuncturist what is tougher to work on. It's people that are sedentary, and their restrictions and injuries usually are deeper and longer or don't go away. And they would much rather work on athletes because we get up and running again. But we also know that it's not sedentary lifestyle related for us lifestyle athletes, as I call us. So stretching is super important. Please do it after your workout, not before. You're going to do sets of low weight on your exercises. That's going to be your warm-up. Your cardio is not a warm-up for your muscles. It's a cardiopulmonary event, which is warming up your inner core. It's getting your lungs going and your heart going, which are all good things, but it's not warming up your muscles. So this is where we have to do a preparation phase. So this is where, if we're doing leg press, which I'm going to be doing today, I start with light and I do a couple sets light. I don't count them into my overall sets, and then I move into my regular weight. You must warm the muscles up more as you age. So more time in warming up in the prep phase before a lift, and more time in stretching after. I'm usually about 20 to even 25 minutes after if I do a small yoga session after my training. I use continuous treatments for my body, which I recommend as well. Massage, chiropractor, acupuncture, whatever it is that supports you. Our bodies need more love and care. And if you have the time and if you can afford it, then please find that practitioner that is going to support you in maintaining your body and easing the stress of exercise, because there is a stress with exercise. It's a good stress, but it's still a stress. And your body needs that extra love. A lot of times I train in silence. In my mastery program that I teach, we do other things in the gym other than just pound to rock music. And that's kind of fun too. But this is where we can reconnect with Mother Earth. We can do some grounding exercise, breathing work, meditation work. I meditate while I'm lifting. And a lot of people think it's either or. How can you meditate when you're lifting? Because it's all grunting and groaning. No. Because you're going inward. You're going inward. So some of my best meditations and aha moments and shifting my perspective is when I'm in the gym training. Again, it is a skill set, but it most definitely can enhance you in all ways. Let's talk food. Okay, so food is a biggie for women. And here's where I say, if you are challenged with excess weight, if you're challenged with food blips, if you're trying to control your food, over control, under control diets, you're on this trend or that trend or whatever it happens to be, know that the food is not the problem. It's the thinking about food that's the problem. And food just needs to be food again. It does not have any power over us, and we don't need to control it. It really is the essence of life, and it's to be enjoyed, but it is to be used respectfully. So I am about 90% whole food, which is a big leap for me, and I have been there for decades. But when I was younger, I hated veggies, man. And fruit was good because it was all filled with sugar and it was so good. So I've had to turn that around, and I turned it around many decades ago, thankfully. But whole foods have the vital nutrients, the enzymes, the vitamins and the antioxidants, etc., that fuel your body. I am a carnivore. I do believe in meat. Some of my women aren't, and that's okay too. Everybody has their own preference, but we must manage our protein levels. Super, super important for women our age, and women over 40 especially. And it's usually, I still talk in pounds, so one gram per pound of lean body mass. What does that mean? If you're holding extra 50 pounds, then we're not adding that in because we're not feeding the fat, right? So I'm lean at about 100 pounds, 120 pounds. So I'm going to eat anywhere from 100 to 120 grams of protein. That's how it works. And so never, ever, ever skimp on your protein, guys. And it's super, super important, especially for aging women, for bone health, for immune system, for energy, recovery, everything. So know your macros, protein, carbs, and fats, and please do not cut your carbs. And everybody says low carb, but very few people know what low carb is. It just means they're cutting out the shitty food. Well, that's great. Then just call it a I'm not eating shitty food diet. But grams of carbs vary widely. So it could be, some women can, for me, I can get down to 80 grams for a few days and do well on it, but I'm usually around 150 grams a day. Everybody's different depending on their experience, their digestion, their goals, their movement, their training, all that kind of stuff. And if you've had an active or colorful diet history, you will find that you might have an intolerance to carbs, but it might be a mental intolerance. And you will have to add them back slowly, but you simply cannot build a strong, shapely body and strong metabolism without carbohydrates. I'm not here to argue it. If you don't agree with me, that's absolutely fine. The women I work with are here to get shape, tone, tightness, strong metabolism, stay lean, and age well. And so carbohydrates make up a big part of that. Fats, yeah, for sure. I mean, years ago it used to be avocado on toast. I'm like, okay, great, where's the protein? But we can get our fats in all sorts of ways. I supplement with either udos or flax, but I do use butter, grass-fed butter. It is not evil, it is brilliant. But again, you have to use it judiciously. So fats usually take care of themselves. I don't take the skin off my chicken. I keep it on. My chicken is all free range. And so that skin is lovely for a high level of saturated fats. Yes, we need saturated fats. It feeds the brain. It feeds the organs and the protection around the organs and all sorts of metabolic processes that happen in the body. I have a free meal every week. So this is my chance to be able to go out and have whatever I want. It's also my peaceful time. So I go out and I might have a big burger with everything on it and a glass of wine. So these are cheat days or refeeds. They're different. I can't go into it in this video. You can check out my video on what's a cheat, what's a refeed. There's a very big difference. I would say at this point, most of them are cheats where I just go out and have what I want. I restrict myself during the week. And when I say restrict, I am not dieting. I am not counting. I am not weighing. Now, I'm way beyond that now. It's all intuitive now. So you can get to intuitive eating, but you've got to know the rules first, and then you can be flexible with them. So this is where I urge my women, use your measuring tools, use your cup, use your teaspoons and tablespoons, use your scale, understand what 3, 4, 5 ounces of meat looks like. In time, you will be able to manage it yourself with your eyeballs. And that's what you want, so you have food freedom. I don't have to weigh, I don't have to count, I don't have to think. It's on automatic pilot now. I eat 3 to 4 times a day. My hunger cues are bang on. You must have tolerable hunger if you want to get lean and stay lean. It's the way it is. And however you get there, if you are on a weight loss journey, you stay there with the same food plan. You don't get there one way and then stay there with another way. So this is where things slip with women. They don't take on the food plan as a lifestyle plan because it might be too restrictive. It might be another diet. It might be, and this is where diets are just regurgitating themselves, and it's a rinse and repeat. And what we need to do is create a food plan based on whole foods 3 to 4 times a day that can run on automatic pilot. This is where the 4 food parts, the meals, timings, portions, and macros are all vitally important for you ladies to understand and initiate on a consistent basis in your life. Don't tell me it's boring. It's not boring. It runs on automatic refeed. It just keeps going. And that's what you want. So you can get your brain off of thinking about food or dieting or weight loss, and you can get your beautiful body and life out there and do what really matters, right? I think that's all I have to say about food. There is a food video in this YouTube channel of mine. It's called 4 Food Rules. Please take a look at that. There's a lot in there. I take minimal supplements. So in my program, I teach women the basic supplementation. I am not really big on selling the family farm and walking home with $500 worth of supplements. It is food. The supplements are the icing on the cake. The food is the cake itself. So we do use training supplements, and yes, they're safe, and yes, they're beautiful for women over 40, but not many. There's only 2 or 3. And then we have the basics that we need to use. After that, you're free to fill your boat, do whatever you want with your supplements. There's a lot of people selling a lot of stuff out there, guys. I don't sell anything. I don't buy into it. I know what I need for my body. And I have people that have supported me in finding that, what works for me. And it's minimal because I used to work in the health food store, and oh my God, every salesperson that came in, they had a new latest greatest, and there was always something coming down the pipe. And I was always trying everything. And I would walk into my house with a bag, hiding everything in my bag because I didn't want my husband to see what I bought that week at the health food store. And it's endless. It's endless people saying, you need this, you need this, you need this. And there's so much marketing out there. So I stay with my 5 or 7 that I take every day. And it has fueled me extremely well. Like I say, after that, if you want to look at other stuff, go for it. But it can be, I think that's my puppy hitting the camera. I've got dogs all around here. And it can be an addiction of sorts. So be careful with that. That's all I got to say about that. I spend a lot of time in nature. I'm very big on mindset, guys. Success is 20% strategy, 80% mindset. So in the mindset piece, this is where when I take women on, they must want to move into that place because everything is an inside job. Everything. Healthy relationship, healthy career, healthy relationship with money, aging well, being able to manage your food and your body, having an understanding of your life's purpose. All of this is mindset. And it's really important that we understand we can't just take a self-help book in the corner with a cup of tea and expect to get healed. It doesn't work that way. It does require a mentor, a leader, or a coach, because otherwise it just becomes an intellectual experience. And this is where proper coaching, real coaching, not motivational stuff, real coaching that has an understanding or a degree in psychology and doing this work can go in and look at your view of the world, where your self-limiting beliefs and your conditioning and your patterns and your habits are keeping you stuck, and be able to work from that place as a reframe and a rebuild to have you operating from up here instead of down there. So mindset's really, really big, and I do mine every day. I do my meditation, I do my mentor work, I do my power words, I do my journaling, I speak to angels and guides. Okay, that may scare the crap out of you. I don't care. It's kind of like gravity, whether you believe in it or not. If you jump from a building, you're going to hit the ground. So there's universal laws, and there's other stuff happening out there that we cannot see. A lot of us can sense it though, and there's a lot of gifted people that have very big skill sets that I've worked with for decades and have built my own. And I do understand and know for sure that what you see is not everything that you get, that there's so much more in all the other intuitive senses that we can build and use in this world. So the mindset piece is super big for me, and it has changed my world. I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on great mentors, great leaders in all ways, in business, in training, in nutrition, in getting certified, but also in personal growth. And that has been the biggest blessing, and I use it and do it and work it every day. So unless we're operating from the inside out, we will be at the beck and call of life. Because here's the deal. Life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. The problem is we think we shouldn't have a problem, but problems and challenges sculpt our soul. So, all the other stuff that you went through as trauma and abuse and all the untold nasty things that happened to you, we can't waste the gifts. So we learn how to transcend versus tolerate. And we learn to put them in their place, but grab the good stuff from them so that we enhance our learning, our world, and it nourishes our spirit. Another whole video for another whole time, but mindset is super, super important in my world, guys. Oh, my doggy's moving around again, sorry. You're getting a little jiggle. Maybe it's an earthquake. We are on Vancouver Island. Maybe we're going to fall into the sea. Sleep is big. Sleep is huge. What I learned mostly about sleep, guys, is you must have a consistent sleep pattern that you don't change. Whether it's weekends, whether it's holidays, whether it's something you really want to watch on Netflix, record it for the next day. I was in hospitality for many years. That's where I learned a lot about psychology, I'm telling you. And I loved it, but I was working till 2 in the morning and maybe partying a little after till like 3:30 in the morning, and then going to sleep and waking up at 11. And then when I had my baby, when I was pregnant, I had to turn that around because my baby was waking up at 6, 7 a.m. So my sleep changed. And then he has some health conditions, which for years had me waking up between 8 and 10 times a night to roll him for many years. So my sleep was really, really hurting for a long time. When things leveled out and when we got the care for him so that I was able to sleep through a night, what I found worked was I don't watch any news or bad stuff. I'm not on electronics at least 2 hours before bed. I do not take anything to bed. There's no TV in our bedroom, no electronics, no lights on. And I do a whole thing on sleep again in my Mastery Lifestyle program. We have to have a dark room. It has to be cool. And there's all sorts of different steps. We don't want a lot of steps. I have a friend who's, God love him, but he's trying to work on his sleep, and he's got 26 things he has to do before he goes to sleep. I'm like, okay, that would just stress me out, man. And sleep is supposed to be something that's natural that you can fall into, but it does take managing your environment, but managing your mindset as well. Sometimes I'll meditate before I go to sleep. Sometimes I stretch before I go to sleep. So there are different things that you can do, but the consistency in your bedtime and waking up, for me, that was the most important change for me, was having that consistency. I am in bed by 9 every night, and I'm up by 5:36 the next morning. Really important for me, and that turned my health around big time. Because ladies, if you don't get your sleep, you know the mental and emotional challenges that it creates, but it also creates, and especially in me, increased hunger. For sure, because you're tired and your body, again, it's just trying to work for you, not against you, and it is needing fuel to wake up. What does it want? It wants something fast, right away, and that's sugar, carbs, glucose, whatever you want to call it, right? All the same. And that is why we will snack or binge. And also go to bed and don't have anything to eat a couple hours before bed unless you're hungry, and then keep it light, keep it easily digestible. It's when we have a big meal, it gets in the way of our circadian rhythms, which are super important. We have to honor our circadian rhythms, which is our 24-hour body cycle, which again, we come to learn about and be able to manage and respect the natural rhythms of the body. And so this is where good sleep hygiene is important, even how your environment is. When the sun starts going down, how are you lighting your room? What are you doing with your time? All of that stuff is super, super important. Here's the deal. The body loves consistency. And I know that sounds really boring, and the body is boring. But in order for the body to best operate, it wants consistency in all things, because it wants to kind of run on remote control, and it likes things staying the same because then it feels safe. It feels like it's moving along and maintaining itself the way it should. It is when we're inconsistent with our food, with our eating pattern, with our sleep, with our work, with how we light our house, all of that stuff. It signals to the body, and this is where diets come in. If we're dieting, again, the body goes, uh-oh, here we go again. Karen's doing another diet. I know what happened last time. She almost starved me to death. So this time, we're going to put on an even deeper plateau. We're actually not going to let as much weight go this time, even if any at all, because we need to protect us. Okay, Karen, we're going to protect you. So that's what happens with diets. So the diet mentality is creating its own audience, which is crazy. And for many of you, it's you. The other really important thing is hydration. At least a liter of water a day. Down in the States, I don't know what that relates to. I'm sorry, liters and gallons and pints. I still can't remember. Think of it this way. This is my measuring tool. A bottle of wine is 750 milliliters, which is 3/4 of a liter. Okay, there you go. So I always say 1 to 2 liters minimum. So I'm usually 2 liters. And I have a liter bottle. Of course, I don't have it here to show you. I have a liter bottle. And all I do is I need to fill it up twice and have it done by the end of the day 2 times. That's it. Because I'm not the kind of person that's going to grab a glass of water and drink it. I rarely drink water out of a glass. I don't know what it is. I just don't like it. And I carry my water bottle everywhere. And here's the deal. Your body will get better at managing water. At first, you're going to feel like a beached whale because there's so much in there. And it'll take a few days, but then your body kind of goes, oh, I'm getting it consistently. I know what to do with it. And if you're retaining water, you need to drink water. Okay? You don't want to not drink water because your body's going to hold on to more because it's not getting what it needs, so it's going to hold on to it. So this is how the body works in a lot of different areas, but water, hydration is super, super important. Is there a difference in the kind of water? I don't care. We have very clean water here where I live, so I'm comfortable with it. Some people like bottled water. Some people like alkaline water, or they add minerals to it, whatever. The less you add to your water, the better, because your kidneys still have to pull whatever is out of the water. It has to clean it. So filtered water, just water, is still the best. What else can I add about aging? I don't do cardio. I hate it. I hate cardio. When I'm talking cardio, I'm talking structured cardio where you're going to do a cardio machine, treadmill, elliptical, blah, blah, blah. I did that for 3 decades because I was competing from my 20s into my 50s. And I don't want to do it. I don't want to spend my time on a cardio machine. I do a lot of walking. I don't count steps, guys. Again, we're not robots. I don't care about numbers. I'm out for at least an hour a day. I think one time when I had my doggies out, doggies are good for that. They get you out. Rain or shine, I am out there every day. I don't care if it's raining, because where I live, we're in the great rainforest, and it's just a part of life. And we get wet, I don't care. I need to get out with my dogs. They need to get out. They're just like little children. If I don't get them out, then they're like terrible to live with all day, because they're just like children running around, intolerant. So the walking, I think one time I measured it. I had a little counter on my phone. I think it was 7,000 steps. I know there's this 10,000 step rule. That's cool. But you know what? A lot of women cannot spend an hour and a half to 2 hours walking every day. Oh, earthquake again. That's my retriever. He's having a stretch. Ozzy, settle down, baby. And but I do a lot of hiking. And hiking, I'm talking hills. My doggies love hills. And I have a hilly area where I live, and that's really where you get the heart going. So I'm happy doing that as my cardio, if you will, and every day. I don't care how much it says that I'm burning. Like when we go onto those cardio machines and it says, oh, I burnt 250 calories in 45 minutes. How does it know? It doesn't know. There's no electrodes in your body. And how do you measure how much you're burning anyways? It is just a marketing thing, guys. So enjoy your cardio. And if you want to do cardio for fat loss, do it after your weight training. Major in weights, minor in cardio. Again, these are for women that have goals that I work with around body shaping, body toning, strong metabolism, dropping excess pounds, keeping it off, and aging well, being flexible and strong. And so cardio comes after. So the weight training sessions, minimum 3 a week. I'd love to see women do 4, maybe even 5. And it should be not a whole body. Whole body is great, guys. Again, I'm not knocking whole body. I'm sure I'm going to get a ton of emails around this. But whole body is great to start. But don't think that you're getting her all done because you did the whole body and you're doing it 3 times a week. No, it's actually better to break the body up into 2 or 3 different workouts. I have 3 or 4 different workouts depending with the different muscle groups, because you need a certain amount of volume, which means workload on the muscles in order to stress them enough to change, to strengthen, to tone, to shapen, right? So if all you're doing is 6 sets for biceps, it's not enough for biceps. I kind of have averages that I teach my women in my one-on-one and group coaching where we need to be for that. Everybody's a little bit different. But honestly, you need more than 3 or 6 sets. And that is where if you have 9 muscle groups and you have to get enough on there to induce change, you're going to be in the gym for 2.5 to 3 hours if you're doing a whole body workout. You get way more bang for your buck, way faster results if you're breaking the body up into muscle groups. Everybody's different. Some people like the push-pull. Some people like 5x5s. Some people like upper-lower. It just depends. Nothing is perfect and nothing is better than anything else. What is important is consistency, and that you are in the gym for at least 30 minutes strictly lifting weights. Strictly lifting weights. And all the other stuff is add-ons. What I don't like is HIIT, and again, HIIT has been misused. High intensity interval training. So HIIT, in the truest sense of the word, is cardio. And it's usually where it's kind of like fartlek training, sprint training, if you remember that in your high school days. I remember it. I was in track and field, where you run and then you sprint for a certain amount of time, and it's a killer. And then you run and then you sprint. So when we did training, we lived in the country, so I would sprint between telephone poles, and then I would walk to the next, or not walk, I would gently run to the next one and sprint. That was how we did our fartlek training. So high intensity interval training is, again, when you're on the treadmill, elliptical, whatever you choose, and you've got a steady state for anywhere from 2 to 3, maybe 4 minutes, and then you sprint as hard as you can, and you're going into the anaerobic zone, which means you're panting for air. You can't get air. That's what you want. That's what sprinters do. And you are doing that, if you can handle it for a minute, that's a long time, or 2 for real seasoned athletes. Then you bring it back down again to a gentle run for another 3 or 4 minutes, and you repeat that. And what science has shown, you can do much less time and have greater results and faster fat burning doing HIIT than you can long, slow distance cardio, where you're just plodding along on the machine. Now, LSD, long, slow distance, has its place as well. And one is not better than the other, but it's important that you know the difference. But these days, they're calling HIIT in the workout, where they're doing some lifting. They might be lifting for biceps, and then they're running on the spot really, really fast. And then they're going and doing some other lifts, like they might do shoulder presses. And then they're doing some jumping jacks. And what I say is, it makes you look like you're a child in the gym. And you're having a little temper tantrum in between lifts. I don't like it. I don't combine cardio or whatever that is with weights. When you're there to do weights, you're there to do weights. And you need to focus. And you need to breathe. And you need to lift well. And you need to be into the movement. And you need to spend your time doing that. And then you can do all your other stuff after. Let me see if there's anything I missed. I have a huge windstorm here, so I'm filming this on my camera instead of on the computer because we keep running out of power. Stretch, train, never train to failure. Not at this age. Do not train to failure. Push it so that those last few reps are tough. Here's the deal. 8 to 12 rep range is kind of the magic place. Can you go beyond that? Sure, sometimes we do. Can you go below that? Sure, sometimes we do. But on average, shape, tone, tightness, all that stuff, you want to stay in the 8 to 12 rep range. What does that mean? The last from like rep number 9, 10, 11, 12 are hard. All those other 8 reps before are just tiring you out to make those last 3 or 4 hard, and that's where the shaping and toning is. Got it? So it's really important that you understand that you have to work hard, but not to failure. I'm not ever going to train to failure where the weight drops because I can't do any more. You can if you're still 20 or 30 years old, and you may be able to if you're just new to this and you're in your 40s, but it does change. The toughest thing that we need to remember is the muscles are more willing than the tendons and the ligaments. The tendons and the ligaments age as well, and they need more love. And they're the ones that are usually going to be in your way as you're aging and wanting to work hard. So you must warm up and you must listen to your tendons and ligaments, especially in the shoulder. Do not stretch out the lower back. You do not want to stretch out those ligaments at any cost. Hips as well. This is where I do a lot of hip opening stretches. I do shoulder stretches. I have one shoulder that's forever banged up and it's the way it is and I have to work around. And it's not going to get better. Did I get it with weightlifting? Who knows? Weightlifting might have made it stay in place for even longer. I've had a hip replacement. And then of course the people that are against exercise are like, oh, you must have done it because of all the training in the gym. No, maybe it kept me going, all that training in the gym, so I didn't have hip dysplasia when I was in my 20s or 30s, right? So if you're worried about lifting because you're afraid of injury, here's what I say, and I will just finish with this. Be afraid of life injuries when you fall and break a hip, ladies, or there's some setback, or you are sick a lot. Muscle is directly related to a strong immune system, and that has been shown as well. It wards off disease states. It helps to build metabolic power, but also there are so many women whose bones are brittle and frail. And I will tell you this, just because your mother has osteo, like mine does, and she's all hunched over, she's lost 5 inches, and her knees are so bad she's now in a wheelchair. I am the same body type, the same height, the same small frame as my mother, but I lived a totally different life. Quality food, lots of protein, minimal acidity, which is, coffee and fast food, minimal in my world, unlike my mother. And I have weight trained for 40 years. My bone density, I have not lost an iota, and I have not lost a millimeter. And my mother has gone the opposite way. She thought that walking was enough, and she also dieted a lot. And she hates meat. So her protein levels have been very, very low for decades. So I urge you to consider weight training is not to fear. It is aging, if you will, aging naturally, which very few people can do well these days, in our world of being sedentary. Okay, going out for a walk for an hour a day is not enough. We sit at our computer, we sit watching Netflix, we sit eating, and then we lay in bed and sleep for 8 hours. There's a lot of sedentary in our world. So get out, build a garden, grow your own food. That's what I'm doing. Get outside in nature, converse with Mother Nature, live in sync with Mother Nature. And this is a big piece of how I live and what I teach, the principles of Chinese medicine and the changing seasons and the circadian rhythms and how our bodies are in tune with Mother Nature. And in this day and age, we have moved away from that principle and that guidance, and along with all of the stuff that's happening on the internet and all the stuff that we're getting sent and all the marketing scams and all of the fear mongering and the blaming and complaining and all of the information that's thrown at us, and we keep looking for information thinking maybe this will be it, maybe this is what I'm missing. You're not missing anything. What you're missing is the simplicity of living a basic rooted life. And we have to come back to that. Whether you call it old school, I don't care. Some people, they say, oh, old school, you're old school, as if it's detrimental. I'm like, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Because when you live simply, when you live back to the basics around food, around movement, around your mindset practices, your meditation, being at one with nature, living in tune with Mother Nature, not against, then you are bringing your body back into a place of homeostasis, which is a fancy word for balance, and you are building health at every level, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And that is how we're supposed to age gracefully and age well. And the way the world is built out there, it is not serving you. This is why you have to find that mentor, that leader, that person that's living the life that you want to live, that looks and feels the way you want to look and feel. and see what he or she is doing. I usually recommend a she, because us women have way different challenges than men. And we need to be honored. We need to be in a community where we're heard, where we're seen, and be able to be supported differently than how mainstream is putting it out there, how we're supposed to live. Don't listen to the noise. And what I always say is, if mainstream's doing it, it's a reason to not do it. All right, you guys, I hope that helps. Any questions, any comments, please leave them below this video. And I hope you gathered something from all of these experiences and whatnot that I've lived for many, many years. If you want to book a call with me, absolutely. It's free. There's no commitment. It's about 45 minutes. And after I look at your questionnaire, I will be able to assess where you're at. And I will see stuff, I'm telling you, that you will not be able to see, or you haven't been able to see because you can't see the label of the jar if you're inside the jar. And that's my skill set. And I'd love to help move you forward in your health and wellness goals. Okay, ladies, thank you so much. Be well, age well, and love yourself into health. Okay, ciao.